The movie begins with a brutal war. The Romans had launched an attack on Africa, and the battle had been raging for days. Leading the African army was a Roman man named Lucius, who had chosen to fight against Romans. By his side was his brave wife, fighting alongside him. Unfortunately, she was killed in the midst of the battle, her last words urging Lucius to keep fighting. Despite the Romans having a much larger army, Lucius and his wife had managed to hold them back with their intelligence and strategy. But after her tragic death, Lucius lost all his will to fight. Heartbroken and devastated, he gave up, leading to the Romans' victory. Africa was conquered, and Lucius, along with the remaining African warriors, was taken prisoner and transported to Rome in chains, facing an uncertain fate. At that time, Rome was ruled by two cruel twin brothers, Geta and Caracalla. Unlike their merciful predecessors, they ruled with terror. Caracalla was especially unstable, making life miserable for the people. To celebrate the Roman victory, General Acacius organized a grand spectacle, a deadly gladiator fight. This brutal event featured bloodthirsty monkeys attacking prisoners for entertainment. Among the captives was Lucius, who was about to face this terrifying challenge. As he stepped onto the battlefield, Lucius had a sudden flashback to his childhood. Something about this place felt familiar. He recalled being sent away from this land as a child by his mother, escorted by soldiers. This meant he had a deeper connection to Rome than he had realized. This revelation shook him to his core, but there was no time to dwell on the past. The fight began, and the vicious monkeys attacked, instantly killing many prisoners. But Lucius and a few others fought back with courage and strategy. They outwitted and overpowered the creatures, ultimately defeating them. Watching from the stands was Rome's former general, Macrinus, who was impressed by Lucius's strength and skill. After the match, Macrinus took Lucius aside and made him an offer. If Lucius agreed to fight as his gladiator, he would provide him with a life of comfort. Otherwise, he would suffer the fate of a common prisoner, starvation, torture, or worse. Lucius, however, had no interest in such an offer. He laughed and told Macrinus he had only one purpose: to kill General Acacius, the man responsible for his wife's death. Intrigued, Macrinus promised that he would deliver Macrinus's head to Lucius in exchange for his obedience. But Lucius remained wary, knowing that in Rome, trust was a dangerous commodity. Meanwhile, Acacius, plotting a rebellion. His wife, Lucilla, was the daughter of the former king, making her the rightful heir to the throne. She had lost her first husband in battle, and now she was married to Acacius. He believed that he, not Geta and Caracalla, should rule Rome, and he was preparing for a war to take back power. He gathered allies in secret, hoping to strike when the moment was right. Lucius was soon called to fight another gladiator match, this time against the undefeated champion, Darius. Darius had never been defeated, and he was overpowering Lucius as well, but Lucius refused to give up. He studied his opponent's movements, found his weakness, and finally turned the fight in his favor. Using Darius's own knife, he killed him, stunning the entire audience. His name spread through the city, whispered as a new force in the gladiator arena. Geta was so impressed that he praised Lucius. In response, Lucius recited a poem in the ancient Roman language, a poem his mother had taught him in childhood. His words shocked everyone, especially General Acacius, who began suspecting Lucius's true identity. Macrinus too began watching Lucius more carefully, recognizing a greater significance in his presence. Marcus interrogated Lucius, asking about his origins. Though Lucius remained silent, Macrinus started to believe that Lucius might be the son of Lucilla, making him the true heir to the throne. Meanwhile, Lucilla herself was beginning to recall the past. When she heard the poem, she remembered reciting it to her son before secretly sending him away for his safety. It suddenly became clear Lucius was her long-lost child. Lucilla decided to reveal the truth to him. That night, she visited Lucius in prison and confessed everything. After her first husband's death, Lucius had been next in line for the throne, but his life was in danger. To protect him, she had sent him far away. She had never stopped loving him, but she had no choice. Lucius, however, was overwhelmed. Anger and pain clouded his thoughts, and he rejected her, sending her away. He had lived a life of suffering and war, and he could not forgive her so easily. The next day, Lucius faced yet another brutal challenge, a fight on a ship floating in shark-infested waters. If he lost, he would be thrown to the sharks. Fighting bravely, he defeated his opponent. Seizing the moment, he threw a spear toward General Acacius, aiming to finally get his revenge. He missed, but the spear struck Geta's throne. Though no one was killed, Acacius fled for his safety. Lucilla then confronted Macrinus, revealing the truth. Lucius was her son, the rightful ruler of Rome. This was devastating news for Macrinus, who had been planning to seize power for himself. Unfortunately, spies overheard their conversation and reported it to Macrinus, who in turn betrayed Cassius and Lucilla to Geta and Caracalla. The twin emperors, furious at the revelation, arrested both Cassius and Lucilla. In prison, Lucius learned more about his father, Maximus, a legendary gladiator and general. He was finally convinced of his heritage. Meanwhile, Geta organized a gladiator match against Cassius himself, forcing him to fight to the death. Despite being older, Cassius defeated multiple gladiators. Then, Lucius was ordered to fight him. Cassius, however, refused to continue. He surrendered, acknowledging Lucius as the true ruler. Geta, enraged, ordered Macrinus's execution. Arrows rained down, killing him instantly. Devastated, Lucius used Macrinus's death as a rallying cry against the corrupt rulers, turning the Roman people against Geta. The city erupted in riots, and amidst the chaos, Macrinus manipulated Caracalla into believing that Geta planned to betray him. In a fit of rage, Caracalla killed his own brother, unknowingly sealing his own fate. Macrinus then turned against Caracalla, accusing him of treason and imprisoning him. With both emperors gone, Macrinus seized the throne for himself, believing he had finally won. Meanwhile, Lucius secretly sent a messenger to General Doris, an ally outside Rome, seeking reinforcements. Macrinus, now drunk on power, arranged yet another gladiator match, forcing Lucius to fight. But Lucius had other plans. Using a stolen key, he escaped from prison, fought off guards, and fled to join General Doris's army. Soon, a great battle erupted. Lucius and General Doris led a small but determined army against Macrinus and his forces. Despite being outnumbered, Lucius and his men fought with unmatched courage. Eventually, Lucius confronted Macrinus in a fierce duel. The fight took them into the waters below, where Macrinus nearly drowned Lucius. But in a moment of renewed strength, spurred by memories of his mother, Lucius struck back and killed Macrinus. With Macrinus dead, Lucius emerged victorious. He stood before the people, holding up his father's ring, the symbol of Rome's true ruler. The people cheered, recognizing him as their rightful emperor. Rome was finally free from tyranny, and Lucius had avenged his loved ones. The movie ends with Lucius ascending to the throne, bringing peace and justice back to Rome, just as his father would have wanted. The city, once drowning in corruption, finally had hope again.